Hello world. In this video, I'll explain how to make this simple connection that's connecting an LED on a breadboard. But before that, I'll have to explain to you how a breadboard works so that the connections don't seem too strange to you. So I'm going to take off everything that I've done here and explain to you how the breadboard works. Okay, so I have two breadboards here, this and this, and they are about the same, just that with this breadboard, you notice that the lines at the corners they run from the top to the bottom, and this one the line ends here, and then another one starts from here and then runs to the bottom. Okay. First of all, what you need to know is that in breadboards, the parts at the corners or the sides they have their connections vertically. So this one has its connections vertically, same as this one. And then with these ones, the ones in the middle, they have their connections horizontally. So there's a connection from here to here, here to here, here to here, here to here, and here to here, as well as all the other groups of five. They are all connected horizontally. So remember I talked about the line that starts from the top to the bottom in this one. It means that for this one, the corner, the connection runs through the entire length of the breadboard. But when it comes to this one, it starts from here and it ends at the middle, and another one starts at the middle and ends at the bottom. Okay. And to further show you how the connections are, I'm going to flip this breadboard and let you see how it's like. So like I was saying, there are connections that run from the top to the bottom here at either side, and then at the middle they run horizontally as well here. And notice that there's a division here, which is here. So it means that these are not connected to these here. So it's pretty evident. And when you get a breadboard, you notice that it will not be exposed like this one here, but there's this adhesive here. That's when you rip off the yellow thing here, you can attach this to the back of anything or onto anything. So let's say you build a robot or anything, and then your breadboard needs to be on that thing that you've built. You just rip off the yellow and expose the adhesive so that you can stick it onto it. Okay. So I think that's all for explaining the connections. So I'm going to, oh yeah, and one other thing, you notice that there are some writings on the breadboard. There's A, B, C, D through to J, and there are some numbers. So the numbers indicate the rows, and then the letters indicate the columns, so that you know which one you're on. So let's say F60 will be this one here. Yeah, this one here. It's where F and 60 intersects, where the row and column respective to F and 60 intersect. And then you see some plus and minus demarcations on the corners of the breadboard. So it doesn't really mean anything per se, but just to help you keep track of how you've connected your polarity. So usually you use a power source in the breadboard. I'm going to be using a battery as my power source, and the battery has two terminals, a positive and a negative. It's evident from the colors of the wires that this is the positive and this is the negative. But sometimes you may lose track, so it's there to help you keep track of how you've connected the polarities. Yeah. But you could connect the positive to the negative, or the negative to the positive, or the positive to the positive, and the negative to the negative. It doesn't really matter as long as you know how you've done your connections. But this is just to help you keep track of the connections. So let me first let me start doing the connection I showed you previously. Okay, so first of all, you connect your battery. I'm going to connect just one terminal so that the circuit isn't completed before everything is connected. Okay, so I'm going to connect the negative here. Make sure it really enters, else it will be loose or not connected. And then I said that the connections run through the entire length. So to connect my LED, I just simply need to take the negative terminal of the LED and connect it to this. And if you didn't know this previously, the LEDs have polarity. So the longer length is the positive, and then the shorter one is the negative. So here I'm connecting the negative here, then the positive to here. Okay. So once I'm done with that, I'll need to connect a resistor to it to limit the amount of current that's entering it, because it will burn it if it's too much for the LED. And I don't know what resistor this is, but it's going to limit the current. Okay, so I'm going to connect it here because I said the connections are horizontal in the middle. And if I connect this here, I'm not going to connect it here because that will just create a short. And we don't want a short circuit. So I'm going to connect it to any of the other horizontal lines here. So I'm going to pick this one and I'll connect it here. And after that, I'm going to need a way to pass it on to the positive terminal. So for that, I'm going to use a male-to-male connector cable. There are other types of connector cables. There are female-to-female connector cables. There are male-to-female connector cables. And by now, you should know what they mean from how they look. Male-to-male has two pins or two protrusions coming from both ends. The female-to-female has holes at both ends, and the male-to-female has a protrusion and then a hole at side of the ends. Okay, so I'm going to make the connection from the resistor. I can connect to any of the holes here, and I'm going to bring it to the positive terminal. And the LED has not lit up because I've not completed the circuit. So if it lights up after I complete it, it means that everything is fine. If not true, then I messed up somewhere. And yeah, it's on. The connections weren't tight. Remember, I said you have to make sure that the connections are tight. So my LED lights up, meaning that the connections are all fine. So yeah, that's the end of the video. I'll see you in the next one.